and I saw the name of the book, I immediately, became intrigued as to what it was about. Talk to us a little bit about, first of all, what made you even seek out Coach Traylor and want to do a season about him at Gilmer? Like, are you from East Texas? Like, how did this even come about?
Yeah, for sure. So like this project's we've been working on this for almost 6 years. I'm
Wow.
originally from, yeah. So hopefully that's not an indictment on my writing ability that it took that long, but no, I'm originally from East Texas and was a coach in that area, also a coach's son, and knew Coach Traylor when I was coaching in the same district as him, and really when I went, I eventually started working on my doctorate to be a professor, and one of my to earn the doctorate you had to do a dissertation, and I wanted to do it over. I was still coaching at the time. I wanted to do it over some strong high school coaches and their programs, and so I looked at 6 of them. And the one that stuck out, and the 6 that we did were fantastic, but the one that stuck out was Jeff's program at Gilmer, and it was because of just like the amount of organization, how much alignment that he had. I mean, it's like a small town CEO, if you will. Like you keep going down the rabbit hole, and I'm like, this guy can lead. Like
Yes.
I've never seen somebody get
Yes.
the board, the local banks, the mayor, everybody, whether what class, whatever you're in, like he had it all rolling. And then also it was, I thought the staff he was able to build and keep on the high school level, which is obviously, I think, using the same strategies. And that's why, I think the band stays together pretty much at UTSA I mean, he's a really good boss. And so they had probably one of the most talented high school staffs ever in a small town, in an area that people would probably be like, hey, how do you keep people living here or working here? Why wouldn't they want to leave and go be head coaches elsewhere or something like that? So kind of diving into that and working into it, I thought it was a cool way also to tell a story about how unique high school football is in that area of the country.
Again, we're joined by Dr. Hunter Taylor. He's written a book about Coach Traylor, Draw the Line. The Gilmer Buckeyes, a season deep in the heart of East Texas. Now, I'm from East Texas as well, Doc.
Where are you from?
I'm from Tyler.
Okay.
I spent 2 years at John Tyler. Go Cujo.
Yep.
So so I'm a huge East Texas football fan. But I'd be interested to see though, because you said something that stood out to me. You said, he had the entire town behind him. And he did the same thing here. Like where we just all kind of bought into, the triangle of toughness and, we're doing well, but we're not eating the cheese. It seems like, we're not eating the cheese. And, I know he gave you full access. What were some other things outside of leading that you learned about Coach Traylor that we're going to learn in this book?
I think the biggest one for me was over the course of learning. I think you learn the most about someone by who they associate with over a long period of time, like who stands to the right of them and the left of them, right? Like you get a good picture about what people value. And so learning and getting to know those men that he served with at Gilmer, and then there's 2 of them that he brought with him there. And I'm sure that I've heard from him about how the quality of people are at UTSA, but like these are people that I'm almost like you can kind of get pessimistic with the way the world is. And you're like, these people don't exist.
Right.
And so like getting to learn about how important Matt Turner is to his life and that mentorship and the way like he's serving now as UTSA's chief of staff. I mean, Matt Turner's Yoda. And so this was a chance to put a spotlight on something like that, or, the close relationship he has with his brother and how special that is. And really, I mean, from being a Tyler native, so like this stretches, I tried to cover 2 of the period of his life when he was working for Danny Long in Jacksonville, and they had the McCowan brothers, rolling back to back, Randy, Josh, and Luke. And I mean, that was a show back in that area of the country.
Right.
And then how that even has origins to the great Marshall team back in 1990, the Friday Night Lights era. They were all kind of descendants under Dennis Parker. And so Jeff's a part of, like, I think the grandest tree in the state. We're just trying to be explicit about it and tell the backstories of it. And all those people added together. I think that's something that I love about Jeff is obviously, I mean, he's not a handouts guy. He's worked
No,
for
not
everything
at
he's
all.
got and
Right.
everything. But like, he gives credit to people that helped him along the way and honors and acknowledges where all these methods came from. And really at the top of that is D.W. Rutledge, which is pretty cool that it's now full circle and he's back in San Antonio.
And now you led me right into my next question. Talk about the role that D.W. Rutledge has played, and I know he's going to be a part of the event we're going to talk about that you're going to be having next Tuesday. And I mean, that name here in this town, I know it's
no doubt.
I know it's Converse. I know they want to be themselves, but it's San Antonio. But that
Oh, yeah.
name Rutledge and what he did here is, I mean, it's legendary. So talk about Coach Rutledge and his role in this whole book and your event
Yeah,
next Tuesday.
absolutely. I mean, he's Rocket Man.
Absolutely.
So being able to kind of tell about origin stories between Jeff and his staff and tracing it back and that allowed you to take a bigger story about East Texas, but then also the state of Texas. And so Dennis Parker and D.W. Rutledge are working for Frank Arnold, right? And then Arnold selects Rutledge to take over Converse Judson, and that opens up for Parker to go to Marshall. But these methods, I mean, they actually stayed friends. It wasn't like a bitter thing where, you know, one person got it, well, screw you, and, you know, I'm out of here. Like, Rutledge and Parker have written curriculum for high school coaches for decades now. Like, D.W. Rutledge might be the classiest person in the state of Texas outside of his own ability to be an effective coach and a leader of young men and women. So with that being said, he's kind of at the top of this large coaching tree that Jeff's a part of, and Jeff always acknowledges it. And I think it even tells on itself when, right, Jeff's introductory press conference, you know, when he takes the job, who introduces him? Coach D.W. Rutledge.
That's right.
And so it's just like, I think that's a really special, cool thing in how much Coach Traylor loves being identified as a Texas high school coach. I don't think that's just jargon. It's all the values that he associates it with. And I think those are traits that Coach Rutledge has lived his entire life. And, like you just said, I mean, in the city of San Antonio, but really in the state
We're
of
in the
Texas.
state of Texas. Yeah, I'm being selfish, but yes, it's the state of Texas. Absolutely.
But I mean, at the same time, like, he might be the most well thought of as far as values and morally, all that stuff. I mean, D.W. Rutledge is it. And so that's pretty neat that they have that special bond and they're kind of a part of this large coaching tree together.
You're joined by Dr. Hunter Taylor, written the book, Draw the Line, Jeff Traylor, the Gilmer Buckeyes, and a season deep in the heart of East Texas. When can people get the book, Dr. Taylor, and talk to us about the event that you have going on next Tuesday where people can actually come out and meet and greet and see Coach Traylor? Talk to us a little bit about when we can get the book and about the event next Tuesday.
Absolutely. So the book just released 2 weeks ago, and so it's out. Whether you can get that on Amazon, you can get that on my website from my publisher at huntertaylor.design. Barnes & Noble is a carrier. Target's a carrier.
Nice.
It's not that hard at all. I mean, you search it, you can find it. And we're trying to get into local stores, especially in San Antonio now. But that's available. And then what we did kind of strategically with the release, and this is the event on Tuesday is going to be the biggest part of it, is we've had kind of book signing events. We've had 3 of them now that go along with the book. So I just had mentioned to you about, you know, some of the other communities that were involved and some of those coaches involved with the tree. So, like, obviously we had the first big event in Gilmer.
Of course.
At this
it's
restaurant.
Only right. It's only right.
And Jeff, only right. And Jeff comes, and oh my gosh, we would like to see Jeff Traylor in his hometown in a restaurant and see the line backed out the door and people crying and all that stuff. I mean, it was unbelievable. And to also watch how, again, you had alluded to this earlier. I mean, he has an inside story with every single person. He wrote a personal note on the book to every single person that came in. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
We did an event there. Then we went to Jacksonville to the Tomato Bowl, and Jeff was at that one too. But then we also invited some of those mentors that he had while he was at Jacksonville, and the McCallans came. and we did an event there. Same type of deal, just super special. And then last week we did an event in Marshall at the White Tittle Fieldhouse, and we invited Coach Dennis Parker, the former Converse Judson assistant, and the Marshall kind of icon. He came and we did an event there, and again, same type of deal. But the last part of the story is what's happened here, right? And so I'd say 90%, of the book is more of origin. It's in the high school level and all in how Jeff became Jeff, if you will. But that last 10%, you got to acknowledge that what he's done here with you, I mean, it's fire, right? So we had to finish this little book tour by doing a San Antonio event. So Tuesday night at the Well, Jeff's going to come and we'll do an event there. Books will be on sale. They'll sign. And then we had to get Coach Rutledge to come.
Absolutely.
Because it made sense to close that circle, close that tree.
What time y'all getting started, Doc?
Yes, it's 6 p.m.
Okay.
And so we'll go hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it needs to be. I think the Dave Campbell's folks are going to be there. I mean, we want it to be just a big final celebration. Once you there,
I'll be there.
We want it just to be, it's the perfect way to end, before everybody's time is probably escaping them and they need to start concentrating on just football. So it's the perfect way to end, I think.
All right. You know what, Doc? I will see you Tuesday. I'll be there for sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna be out there Tuesday. This to me was special because one, I'm from East Texas, and I know San Antonio don't want to hear it, but it's as you just alluded to, people crying out there. East Texas high school football, it's just a little bit more. It's a little bit more religious than it is here, and that's not a knock to San Antonio. So I know how big of a deal it is. I'm excited to read the book. I'm excited to meet you in person. I'm excited to see Coach Rutledge, who I haven't seen in years. So good luck with the book. I hope it does well, and we will see you Tuesday. And I appreciate what you did, and I appreciate you coming on.
Rudy, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate this. I'll see you Tuesday.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on.